Hey guys, back again for part 2 of the 2014 year review. First off, we have, this is going to be strictly for movies, because I have like tons of them on the list. Because I actually went to see a lot more movies than I did in any other year. I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I know that may not seem like much at all, but trust me when I say this, I saw some of them multiple times, and I can't see every movie, because I'm paying for them, and movies I know aren't that expensive, but still, I'm still paying money for them, so I can't see every single movie. So if your movie's not on here, I'm sorry, there's like 100 movies I left out on this list, and if I missed any, I'll list them in the comments below if I remember any of them. But I don't think I missed any. With that said, first off, there's the Lego Movie. The Lego Movie was a lot of fun. It was very creative, especially the ending, the twist ending was spectacular. The movie is very clever, the writing is very smart, it's quirky, it's funny, and the whole Chosen One story arc is just, you know, it's handled really, really well. So, the Lego Movie was definitely a very fun movie, so I'm gonna try and find it on DVD and Blu-ray at some point because I want to own it. Also, the animation was a sight to behold. It actually looked like people were actually using Legos to make the movie, and I don't think that was the case, but it sure does look like it. That was really cool. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I have impressions on this movie, and I still stand by most of my opinions. This is finally a fantastic Marvel movie that isn't the Avengers or Iron Man. And not to say other Marvel movies have been bad. I liked Thor, I liked the first Captain America, I liked Incredible Hulk, I even like Iron Man 3, and I even like Thor: The Dark World. But, you know, Phase 1 was very set up until the Avengers, and Iron Man was kind of set up, but I don't know, they just did... it's just because that was the first time, that was the movie that had to hit it out of the park, and that they didn't rush the movie out. Like, this was the point where they didn't really rush many movies out per year. So that's why Iron Man, they really knocked it out of the park with that one. So, because Iron Man's fantastic. But, you know, with the other movies, they've just been, they're good. They're not great, but they're good. They're entertained. You'll be entertained. They're entertained, yeah. You'll be entertained. But, the Marvel movies of Phase 2 so far have been mixed. Iron Man 3 had good ideas, but fell short on a couple of areas. And I still think it is a good movie, and a very entertaining one. I just don't think I don't think it's as good as it could have been. And I also, Thor: The Dark World was very safe. It didn't really do much new. It didn't really give us anything, and the villain was pathetic. Ronan's a better villain. You know, and Ronan's not the most interesting villain. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously. But Captain America: The Winter Soldier, this was when the Marvel movies started taking risks. They started adding to their universe, and I love Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and I'm very looking forward to Civil War. RoboCop 2014. I don't really have much to say on this movie except for it's boring. I'm not a RoboCop fan. I didn't really watch RoboCop at all. I didn't watch the original, which is probably a movie I should watch at some point. But I haven't watched RoboCop. I don't really think I need to watch RoboCop 2 or 3, since everyone says they're crap. So, yeah. But RoboCop 2014, it's boring. I didn't even really care for the movie much. It's just very dull. None of the characters really have any emotion except for Gary Oldman's character, which I kind of liked. But that's because it's Gary Oldman. I just know him as Gary Oldman. And there's, of course, Samuel L. Jackson yelling. In fact, Samuel L. Jackson yelling was probably the best part of the movie. It really was. So, because Samuel L. Jackson, he yells a lot, but he's good at it, so... The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Boy, have my opinions changed on this one over the year. I actually watched it again, and I didn't have a very positive outlook on it. Now, I didn't have a very positive outlook on it to begin with. When I first watched The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I actually did impressions on it, which you will no longer see on YouTube, mainly because my opinions have just changed drastically. And by God, when I said that Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man or Peter Parker, I was probably referring to how he was a Spider-Man, because, oh God, now I watched it again. He isn't Peter Parker. I'm sorry, he isn't. I will say this: in the Amazing Spider-Man 1, he tries. He tries, and I think he did really well as Peter Parker in the first movie. Second movie, no, he's not. He's just Andrew Garfield playing himself. You know, he does stuff that Peter Parker, at least my vision of Peter Parker, would never do. You know, that scene where he kisses Gwen Stacy at his graduation. Yeah, he doesn't. Peter Parker would never ever do that. At the same time, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's just, by God, is this the most confusing film I have ever seen? It's not, just like before, just like I said in the impressions video that I did earlier, it's not just one story, not one narrative, it's multiple narratives. It's so all over the place, and constantly stuff has focus, and then that stuff is just lost and will never be seen again in the film to focus on this, which will stop appearing until the end of the film, and then they'll focus on this, and then it's ridiculous. It's so confusing. And I stand by the villains, though. The villains, I didn't change my opinions on the impressions, and I still don't like them. In fact, they're even more insulting here. Now, because they're more insulting, because I actually do like Electro. I do like the Green Goblin. I do like Harry Osborn. I think all of them are great characters, even though Green Goblin and Harry Osborn are the same character in Amazing Spider-Man 2. But Green Goblin is just so rushed. He's so lazily done. By the time Harry takes the spider serum and just shoves it in his arm, you know, he injects himself with it, he just becomes the Green Goblin, like, oh, that was quick, I'll be damned. Oh, there's a glider, there's a suit, I'll just take that and go kill Peter's girlfriend. Because, you know, I gotta do that for the fans. That's pretty much what he does. That's all he's there for. And Electro is just a placeholder villain, just until Green Goblin can steal the show as he should be the main villain. Green Goblin should have been the main villain here, but no, he wasn't. Why? Either because they rushed the film, which they probably did, or it's because they knew that Green Goblin was used in Spider-Man 1, and people would confuse the Green Goblin with this movie, with the first one. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know why they did it. The point is, it was stupid. It was dumb. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is such an unfocused movie. It's not even a movie. It's multiple movies that probably should have been multiple movies. Don't you have like 3 other movies? You can't put any of this setup and advertising into another movie? Because, by God, this one is just ridiculous. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is just insulting. And it's, I swear, look. Spider-Man 3 is a guilty pleasure, but I'll admit it, it's not as good as Amazing Spider-Man 1. You know, I'll admit that, because going back to Amazing Spider-Man 1 for a bit, I think I was a bit harsh on it. I actually don't think it's as bad now, because I've actually watched it again. I took the time to watch it again, and I don't think it's that bad now. I don't really think it's good, but it's at least it at least tries to be a good film. Everyone tries. They give their best effort, and I can at least give them that much. Amazing Spider-Man 2, there is no effort to be found. It's worse than Spider-Man 3. It's worse than Amazing Spider-Man 1. It's not worth watching. Don't even watch it. Hell, because of the poor box office results that Sony got from it, because of that, yeah, I'm guessing we're not going to see another Amazing Spider-Man movie, especially since Sony and Marvel are in talks of teaming up to share the rights for Spider-Man, which I really hope they do, because and it's not because I want to see Spider-Man in the Avengers. Oh, don't get me wrong, it would be awesome. It would be an awesome added bonus, but I just want to see a good Spider-Man movie again. You know, Spider-Man 3 may be a guilty pleasure, but it's not a good movie. I don't think it's a good movie. The last good Spider-Man movie we had, blasphemy to say this, was 10 years ago. It was Spider-Man 2. It was exactly 10 years ago. So I'm not looking forward to the Sinister Six movie if they are going to continue with the Amazing Spider-Man universe, which I don't think they will, especially after Amazing Spider-Man 2 fucked Sony so hard. It just really screwed them in the ass. Anyway, How to Train Your Dragon 2. I have impressions on this movie, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but it was a fantastic movie. I think at first when I did the impressions, I said I didn't know it was better than the original. Well, I actually do think it is better than the original. The original is still fantastic, but this one I like a little more because it really did surprise me in so many areas. And I knew just by hearing what the critics were saying, it was going to be good. But wow, they just hit another home run, and you got one of the best animated trilogies ever. I'm looking forward to How to Train Your Dragon 3. I can't wait to see what they do with that. X-Men Days of Future Past. I have a terrible impressions video on this. A terrible one because it was so unfocused and tired during that impressions video, it turned out the way it did. So it isn't very good. But X-Men Days of Future Past, it is a movie that it's probably one of my, if not my favorite movie of the year. It's one of them. X-Men Days of Future Past finally brings the X-Men films back to what they should have been. This is what X3 should have been. You know, amazing. And the X-Men is just, it's fantastic. X-Men Days of Future Past is just fantastic. You know, the story was very well done. You know, it fixes a lot of the shit that went on in the earlier movies. You know, all the plot holes and the timeline inconsistencies. It fixed all that stuff, and it also delivered on the most important thing, being a fantastic movie. It focused on being a story. Sam's channel actually brought this up in his review of Amazing Spider-Man 2 and X-Men Days of Future Past. They're out to accomplish the same goal, to start an established universe for superheroes. X-Men Days of Future Past does it well because they're trying to tell a story. They're trying to tell stories with this universe. Amazing Spider-Man 2 isn't. It's just trying to make money. Transformers 4. Okay, look. This is my least favorite film of the year. Amazing Spider-Man 2 came close. It did. But to me, Transformers 4 Age of Extinction, that's a stupid subtitle. To me, Transformers Age of Extinction tops it. You wanna know why? It's 3 boring, agonizing hours long. I would have no issue with the movie if that was the case, okay? I went to go see this movie because it was my mom's birthday present, pretty much. And I felt I was pretty much obligated to go, okay? She didn't guilt trip me. She didn't do anything like that. I'm just saying that I felt obligated to go because it was her birthday. And by God, it was so boring. My mom didn't even like this film, and she actually likes the first 3 Transformers, which I call her insane for it, but you know. My brother enjoyed it though. I'm glad he enjoyed it. He's freaking insane. I'm joking. I'm joking. But Transformers 4, by God. Look, the first Transformers was dumb fun. The second one had its moments, even though it wasn't very good. I will admit it's not very good. And the third one was boring as well, because they didn't really do much new. The sequels didn't really do much new. I didn't expect much from Transformers 4. And by God, it's 3 hours long. Why did this movie have to be 3 hours long? Look, the other 2 movies were already long enough, but they didn't make me want to shoot myself in the theater. By God, 3 long hours of just sitting there watching one of the most boring movies of the year. You know, again, I wouldn't even consider making this my worst movie of the year if it weren't for the fact that it was 3 hours long. That's the only thing that kills it for me. You know, okay, it's not the only thing that kills it for me. There's a lot of things that kill it for me, but it's the major thing that kills it for me. You know, I wouldn't even hate this film. I wouldn't care about this film if it was just... Oops. Okay, anyway, back to my point. I wouldn't give a damn about this film if just... Don't make them 3 hours long. That's what I'm saying. Don't make them 3 hours long. I swear to God, I was bored stiffless. So boring. It's just, that's my only gripe, okay? It's boring, and it's 3 hours long. I'm not asking for a good movie. I'm just asking for, you know, Don't make them 3 hours long. Make them 2 hours. They only need to be 2 hours. God, so boring. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is, again, a fantastic Marvel movie. Marvel had a fantastic year. The only misstep was Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was really bad, but hey, other than that, Marvel had a great year. Guardians of the Galaxy proved that Marvel shows constantly that they can take any project and make it a good movie. I mean, this is like, they can do anything now. If you are a Marvel superhero, you will get a movie. Seriously, Black Panther's getting a movie now. Ant-Man's getting a movie. Doctor Strange's getting a movie. They're gonna turn every Marvel hero into a movie. They're gonna have every Marvel comic book be a movie now. So, but hey, you know, if they're as good as Guardians of the Galaxy, then yeah, I'll definitely keep seeing them. Guardians of the Galaxy was so much fun, and that's the key word. It's so much fun. It also reminded me a lot of Star Wars, Star Trek, J.J. Abrams specifically, Cowboy Bebop. You know, it reminded me of tons of stuff. I have an impressions on it, so if you want to see my full thoughts, just go there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2014 movie. Boy, did Turtles have one hell of a year. It's Michael Bay, so you know I'm not going to say it's good. But it's not that bad, okay? It's not that bad. Blasphemy is for saying it. I will say this, the action scenes are actually better than Transformers because they're not nearly as explosion heavy. I was actually very shocked to find that there's only like maybe a couple explosions in the entire movie, and they aren't really that big. So, you know, the biggest one was actually at the end, but even then it was only one. So I was very shocked at that. But still, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is not a good movie. It really isn't. It's just kind of dull. The Turtles are just, you know, they aren't really that entertaining, you know? I mean, the action scenes are kind of fun, but it's an ultimately forgettable film that's going to get a forgettable sequel. Yes, they already signed up for a sequel. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles it doesn't deserve all the hate it gets. It got so much crap when it first came out. Guys, it's not that bad. It's not good. It's definitely not good, but it's not bad either. It doesn't deserve any of the hate. It deserves to just be forgotten. That's all it is. It's just a forgettable movie. The only scene I really liked was the snow scene. That scene was awesome. I'll give them that. The Maze Runner. This movie, I don't really have much to say other than the ending was shit. They didn't need to make any sequels from it, but hey, there were sequels to the first book, so I guess that's why they did it. It was just okay. It was, like, the ending really got on my nerves. The ending, like, when I saw that, it was one of the stupidest things ever. Not only is this a movie that doesn't need any sequels at all, it seems like a movie that should just be a one-off movie, or, the ending was just, it didn't really make sense. You know, some people may like it, that's fine. I didn't. The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1. I actually saw this movie yesterday. So why do I even put it on here? Because it's my list, came out in 2014, so shut up. Anyway, Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1. It's Part 1-2 movie that's being based on the last book of a very popular series that's getting a Part 1 and Part 2. So of course it's not going to be the whole thing. But Part 1 was okay. It was fine enough. I only saw the first Hunger Games movie, which was okay. I didn't see Catching Fire, which I heard was much better. So, we'll see. It was pretty much just set up. I will say this, they did handle Part 1 better than Harry Potter did handle Part 1, so just everything else Part 1 was kind of boring for Harry Potter. Interstellar. Interstellar is a very, very ambitious film, and my battery's about to die. My camera's about to die, so I better make this quick. Very ambitious, very well acted, very pretty to look at. Third act's a little ridiculous, but I ultimately really, really love the movie. It is a fantastic movie, and everyone should see it. Anyway, that's all the movies on my list, so yeah. This 2014's been a fun year, and I'm looking forward to this year. I'm the Seaman235, signing out.